Marist Fencers to our final episode of Virtual Marist Summer Camp. Today we're going to work on some defenses, what we call defenses from below. The last episode we were doing defenses from above. Remember, we said we try and avoid going straight at your opponent, and we either step offline and avoid their cut, or we step into it and parry. When you're cutting, remember we said you end up your beginning, middle, and end point. So what happens when you're down here? You can defend from below. So today we're also going to work on some defenses. We call these defenses from below. The cut, your opponent will still cut from above, that regular off-the-shoulder cut. But this time we're going to do defenses starting from below the waist. So in order to do that, we need to introduce a couple of new guards. These will all be starting positions below the waist. The first one, they're very descriptive. The first one is called full iron gate. And you'll see why it's a gate that swings back and forth. It will be left foot forward. This is our traditional stance, if you remember. Foot forward, rear foot off to the side and at an angle. And then the sword simply hangs down at your waist, pointed out perpendicular, point slightly down. It's a perfect posture here. You can see she's ready to move, and yet she's in a very relaxed position. Transitioning, you can bring this forward to what we call middle iron gate. The sword is pointed forward and slightly down. This is unique, is that it can have either foot forward. The full iron gate has to be left foot forward because the sword has to hang freely at the side. If you have it this way, your hip sort of binds. So this way it opens freely. And then completing the arc, we move into boar's tooth, which we've already covered before. Again, perfect position. So this will be right foot forward. You can see my left foot is back and the pommel is in my hip pocket here. In order to use these, we also need to introduce a new cut. We kind of call this ribbon cut after the charity ribbons because of the shape that the cut makes. It will start from full iron gate. The hands come up over the head and you step forward into a cut. Very nicely done. This is a little bit different. It starts from, remember what we called the false edge? This is your thumb. The true edge is where we normally cut from. This actually starts from a false edge cut. So when you raise your hands, you want to raise them thumb forward, and then you come across your body, and then you raise your hands, and then finally you'll rotate that blade. Remember, we say you can use it as a lever. You rotate that blade around your head and it pulls you forward into a cut. So we're going to do it in one motion here. So go ahead and do, actually face the camera and do an example. So go ahead and do, okay, and then so in one motion, it's going to be, again, raise the hands, lever the sword around the head, forward, and cut. So in one motion, that'll look a little bit like, and you can see the arc of the ribbon here. Raise, lever, cut. Okay, so we're going to do, show you how we use this actually in a defense. Mrs. Ames is going to grab her helmet because she's a little bit more at risk. She's going to be the agent. We always call the person who initiates the action the agent. The person responding is the patient. The patient, in this case me, actually ends up getting to do the action. She's going to check her measure, perfect, cuts me right at the shoulder, and I'm going to start in full iron gate. And she's going to do a cut, boom. The first part of the move is to knock the blade out of the way. It's a percussive blow, it's sharp, it's meant to knock her offline. This is what she's aiming for. afterwards, this is where she ends up, and it gives me time to complete my move, is that I continue around and step and cut. So in one motion, one more time. So you can see it's kind of sharply done. It needs to be sharp. I can't push her out of the way. If she extends, I can't just take it and go, ugh. You need to be a sharp blow, and this is where the hands come in. The hands come in real handy. You can use that one to pop out of the way. It also works a little better if you can get a little hip twist in. It's hard to do stuff with just your arms. You get much more force if you use your body. I'm squared up, and I little. Okay, so in one motion, one more time, step. This is a little bit close. I might want to step a little bit more offline. And it gives my hands a little bit of room to extend. Looks much cleaner. So that's from full iron gate. I'm actually cutting, parrying into her cut. She's coming at me this way. I'm actually to come together. It's a little bit easier. You can also do this same motion from the other side. From boar's tooth, this is a little bit trickier because as she cuts, I have to make sure that I come in behind her blade. I'm going to do that same motion. If I get there too early, whoop, I miss and she hits me. If I get there too late, whoop. So the timing is important. This is a little bit tougher. From full iron gate, from my right side, much easier. From the left side, your timing is a little bit more important. I have to judge it, boom, out of the way, and then come around. One more time. So your timing is good. Again, this is a percussive blow. You want it to be sharp. It doesn't have to be strong, but you want it to be a sharp cut. So using that hip twist, if you'll notice when I let my hips rotate and using that lever, you can get a nice pop and knock their sword out of the way. It is not a parry, and that the blades do not remain together. Her blades here, I'm popping it out of the way, and then it gives me the space to make the cut. So one more time. Okay, that's all we have for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This again is just a taste of what we do in summer camp. We are going into much more detail. We do pair drills, and this is just a small segment. What it means to be a swordsman. There's a lot of work that's involved. Hopefully this is the first step on that journey. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If we do get to have summer camp, we would love to see you. We'll do this activity and more. And finally, if you remember when we started this whole thing, we talked about saluting in as a sign of respect. So we're going to finish off with a salute out and draw and salute. Thank you very much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you, and hopefully we'll see you at Marist and Fencing Club.